She stood outside the city's most elite bridal salon, her heart racing with anticipation, only to be met with cold dismissal. The reason? Her beige culottes and cotton blouse, deemed unworthy by the gatekeepers of elegance. The dream of finding the perfect wedding dress slipped further away, leaving her in a whirlwind of emotions. The staff's eyes roamed over her, a cruel laughter escaping their lips, echoing in the air like a mocking chorus. It seems you may have wandered into the wrong realm. Our dresses begin their journey at a staggering $80,000. Renting is not an option for us. Despite Isabella presenting her appointment email, disbelief clouded their judgment, leaving her feeling trapped in a web of doubt. One whispered, "Did she steal someone's invite? Just another opportunist, masquerading as someone of significance." And all those very same souls? They found themselves amidst the opulence of the billionaire's wedding. Her return was marked by the soft rustle of fabric, a simple beige dress clinging to her form as she stepped back into their lives. Once more, they unleashed their cruel laughter upon her. Security was summoned. As the chapel doors creaked open, they spun around, anticipation coursing through their veins, and became utterly still. Isabella Hartwell entered Maison Claire de Lune on a brisk April morning, the air alive with the vibrant pulse of New York City, where the streets whispered of coffee and the lingering scent of rain. The boutique, hidden away on Madison Avenue, stood as a sanctuary of opulence, its windows adorned with delicate ivory roses, while a subtle gold plaque marked the entrance, hinting at the treasures within. Within the grand hall, chandeliers wept crystal droplets, while racks of gowns sparkled as if they had ensnared the very essence of starlight. Isabella, clad in her beige culottes and flowing cotton blouse, seemed as though she had stepped out from a realm untouched by time. Her chestnut hair was swept back into a low bun, framing a face that was strikingly bare, save for the delicate hint of rose that graced her lips. At 29, her beauty radiated a gentle allure. High cheekbones framed a face that was both striking and enigmatic, while hazel eyes glimmered with untold stories, drawing you in with an irresistible allure. There was a quiet grace about them that compelled a second glance, leaving you captivated and yearning to uncover the mysteries hidden within. She bore a canvas tote, unmarked and unassuming, draped casually over one shoulder. The staff, 4 women clad in tailored black dresses, their hair as sleek as their smiles, halted mid-conversation, an electric tension hanging in the air. The tallest, Charlotte, raised an eyebrow, a flicker of intrigue dancing in her gaze. "How may we assist you on your journey?" Her tone hinted at a resounding no, a finality that hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Isabella's smile was calm and unwavering as she reached for her phone. "I've arrived for my fitting." Isabella Hartwell. It was 11 o'clock, the hour when shadows deepened and the world held its breath, poised on the edge of the unknown. With a swift motion, she pivoted the screen, revealing an email adorned with the boutique's elegant logo, detailing the specifics of her eagerly awaited appointment. Charlotte's gaze darted to the screen, then returned to scrutinize Isabella's outfit. A sly smirk danced upon her lips. "Apologies, but it seems there has been an error. The starting price for our exquisite gowns is a staggering $80,000. Welcome to a hidden sanctuary of creativity." Her voice dripped with sweetness, yet the sting was unmistakable. Lily, Megan, and Sarah locked eyes, a silent spark igniting between them as their lips curled into mischievous smiles. Lily, the youngest, leaned in closer, her voice barely a whisper, as if sharing a secret meant only for the shadows. Had she pilfered another's email? "It occurs with relentless frequency." Isabella's expression remained steadfast, unyielding in the face of uncertainty. There was no room for doubt, she declared. Her voice flowed softly, reminiscent of a gentle stream gliding over smooth stones. "It was 6 long months since I had placed my order, a wait that felt like an eternity. In a realm where elegance meets artistry, a custom design unfolds, draped in the soft embrace of ivory silk, adorned with intricate diamond embroidery that sparkles like stars in the night sky." Her words sliced through the air with unwavering clarity, each syllable dripping with certainty. But Charlotte crossed her arms, her perfectly manicured nails drumming impatiently against her skin. "Sweetheart, we don't welcome unexpected visitors, and we certainly never engage in..." With a flick of her hand, she pointed at Isabella's culottes, her nose crinkling in distaste. "This, Megan," her fingers dancing across the tablet screen, let out a derisive snort. "Isabella Hartwell? I've never encountered her before. Most likely just another pretender hiding behind a false identity." Sarah, poised beside a rack of veils, withdrew her phone and began to type, her fingers dancing across the screen with urgency. "This is too good," she whispered, her fingers dancing over the screen as she began to live stream. Her caption hinted at an unexpected twist. "A mysterious figure in clearance clothes disrupts a bridal fitting." The comments surged in like a tidal wave. Joyful laughter echoed through the air, a symphony of mirth captured in vibrant emojis. Who is she trying to fool? Free her from this place. Isabella froze in place, her tote bag pressed firmly against her hip, a silent witness to the unfolding moment. She remained silent, her voice a mere whisper in the storm of emotions swirling around her. "I need to speak with the manager," she declared, her voice steady and resolute. Charlotte's laughter erupted, a piercing and jagged sound that sliced through the air. "My dear, I hold the position of manager, but you're not one of our clients. Let's keep this under wraps." She gave a subtle nod to Lily, who advanced with a smile that barely touched her lips. "The moment has come to leave." They hovered around her, a palpable tension in the air, but their hands remained still, not yet daring to make contact. But they surrounded her, driving her toward the door like a lost animal cornered in the wild. As Isabella lingered by the boutique's luxurious velvet curtains, her fingers tightened around the strap of her tote, when suddenly a wealthy client draped in a sumptuous mink coat entered the scene. "Who allowed this unruly mob to cross the threshold?" she barked, her diamond earrings glinting with every fierce word that escaped her lips. Vanessa Lewis was a name whispered in the opulent halls of the Upper East Side, a socialite cloaked in the allure of wealth, her voice resonating with the undeniable power of privilege. She advanced, her heels echoing like a ticking clock, and with a deft flick of her manicured nail, she brushed against Isabella's blouse. "This is an insult to culture," she spat, her voice slicing through the air, reverberating off the mirrors that surrounded her. The staff erupted in cheers, their voices rising in a chorus of encouragement, while Lily clapped with fervor, as if witnessing the thrill of a fierce competition. Vanessa's entourage, 2 women draped in Chanel, captured moments with their cameras, their laughter cutting through the air like a sharp blade. Isabella's fingers curled into fists, yet her expression stayed serene, a delicate facade concealing the tempest brewing inside her. The comments on the livestream exploded, a torrent of disdain flooding the screen. "Trash doesn't belong here," they taunted. "Make her cry." The world gazed, ravenous for her suffering, oblivious to the strength she possessed. Isabella glided alongside them, each step deliberate, her expression a mask of calm. Sarah's phone captured the moment, and her audience, now swelling to 2,000, devoured every second of it. "She's lost touch with reality," one comment echoed ominously. "She thinks she's a celebrity," another voice echoed, laced with intrigue. As Isabella approached the door, Charlotte's voice echoed behind her. "Next time, try a department store." The glass door swung shut with a soft thud, and the street consumed her, leaving only echoes in the air. In mere hours, Sarah's livestream erupted into a viral sensation. Page 6 blared a headline that sent shockwaves through the city. "Mystery woman in beige pants crashes elite bridal salon." Vanity Fair labeled her a delusional dreamer, a title that echoed through the corridors of her mind, igniting a fire of ambition and despair. The Daily Mail wielded its words with a sharper edge. "In a world where style reigns supreme and every glance could spell judgment, enter the enigmatic nobody who dared to believe she was destined for greatness." Twitter erupted in a frenzy of memes. Isabella's culottes, expertly photoshopped onto glamorous red carpets, accompanied by the biting caption, "When you RSVP to a wedding, but forget the dress code." No one spoke her name, yet the weight of her shame hung heavy in the air. But that was merely an illusion. 2 days later, a fleet of private jets swooped down upon the enchanting chateau, nestled in the heart of the French countryside, a magnificent 17th century estate known as Château de Lumière. The gardens overflowed with vibrant lavender and blooming roses, while the spires reached skyward, piercing a blue so intense it was almost painful to behold. The air crackled with anticipation. This was the wedding of the year. Sebastian Wilder stood at the precipice of destiny, the sole heir to Wilder Media, a colossal $40 billion empire that commanded half the world's magazines, streaming platforms, and news outlets. The weight of legacy hung heavy in the air, a tantalizing promise of power and influence that beckoned him forward. At 32, Sebastian was a mystery waiting to be unraveled. A towering figure, his dark hair framing a face that could either enchant or dominate. A man who transformed his father's legacy into an unstoppable global powerhouse. Who is the bride? Her name was a mystery, lost to the whispers of the wind. The press lay hushed, a remarkable achievement orchestrated solely by Sebastian, who invoked the specter of security concerns to cloak the truth. Whispers danced through the air. She was a royal, cloaked in the shadows of her lineage, a tech heiress wielding power behind the scenes, and a supermodel concealing her brilliance from the world. The guest list shimmered with the luminaries of fashion and the titans of power. Editors, designers, influencers, each bound by an unbreakable vow of silence. Invitations had been dispatched to the dedicated staff of Maison Claire, DeLune, Charlotte, Lily, Megan, and Sarah, alongside a select group of influencers who had propelled the live stream into the spotlight. They believed it was their influence that paved the way for their entry. Sarah, adorned in a striking crimson gown, swept through the chateau's gates, her heart racing with excitement as she glanced at her phone, now buzzing with the energy of 10,000 new followers. "This is my moment," she breathed, her voice barely a whisper, as she cast a glance at Lily, draped in emerald silk, her smug grin radiating confidence. Charlotte, draped in sapphire velvet, surveyed the throng, weaving names into conversation with anyone willing to lend an ear. Megan, draped in black lace and shrouded in silence, lingered nearby, her eyes flickering with an unsettling awareness, as if she could feel the very atmosphere around her change. The courtyard unfolded like a dream, with marble fountains cascading water, white lilies swaying gently in the breeze, and the enchanting strains of a string quartet weaving Vivaldi's melodies through the air. Guests swirled around the room, diamonds glinting like stars, their laughter cutting through the air with a thrilling edge. Suddenly, a wave of anticipation surged through the crowd, drawing every gaze in its direction. Isabella Hartwell crossed the threshold of the gates, her heart pounding with anticipation. Her beige linen dress clung to her form, sleeveless and whispering against her skin as it danced just above her knees. Her hair cascaded freely, framing her face in gentle, flowing waves that seemed to whisper secrets of the wind. Her flats, though simple, bore the marks of countless journeys, scuffed at the toes as if whispering secrets of the paths she had tread. Her hands rested lightly in front of her, unadorned by jewelry or a bag, a quiet testament to her simplicity. She appeared as if she had just stepped out of a vibrant farmer's market, a stark contrast to the opulence of a billionaire's wedding. Sarah caught sight of her first, a sharp gasp escaping her lips. "No way," she hissed, her eyes narrowing as she raised her phone, the screen glowing ominously in the dim light. "Who is the girl in the beige pants?" Charlotte's gaze sharpened, a sly smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Lily's laughter rang out, bold and unrestrained, capturing the attention of everyone around her. Is she spiraling once more? Within that moment, Megan paused, her grip on the clutch growing firmer, silence enveloping her as she wrestled with her thoughts. The influencers descended like a storm, with Zoe Carter at the helm, a fashion vlogger boasting 1 million followers. Their phones were raised, capturing every moment, while their voices rose in a cacophony of disdain. Had she wandered off the path on her quest to find the thrift store? Zoe's voice danced through the air, her lavender gown swirling dramatically as she glided around Isabella. It was a moment steeped in embarrassment as another influencer, Travis Vaughn, captured the scene, his gold cufflinks shimmering like beacons of opulence in the light as he snapped a photo. Isabella stood her ground, unwavering. In the heart of the bustling courtyard, she stood poised, her hazel eyes piercing through the throng, her posture unwavering and sharp as a blade. A waiter approached her, a glimmering flute of champagne in hand, the bubbles dancing in the light, inviting her into a world of celebration and intrigue. She nodded, a faint yet warm smile gracing her lips as she declined. The guests encircled, their whispers slicing through the air like daggers. "She's a nobody," one editor whispered, the words dripping with disdain. "She probably bribed her way in," a stylist sneered, the disdain dripping from her voice. Sarah reignited her live streaming journey, her caption daring and unyielding. The beige girl makes her bold entrance at the billionaire's wedding. Round 2 of an unexpected showdown. The numbers soared. 20,000, then 30,000. Comments pouring in like a relentless tide. Cast her aside. "What a pathetic fool." Charlotte stepped forward, her voice cutting through the music like a knife. "You don't belong here," she declared, her voice slicing through the air, causing the quartet to stumble in their rhythm. In the courtyard, Isabella stood her ground against Charlotte's biting accusations, while a group of fashion interns loomed nearby, their lanyards swaying ominously like nooses in the tense air. With piercing eyes that seemed to hold the weight of the world, Tessa stepped forward, her voice ringing out with fierce determination. "She's likely here to snatch a gown," she shouted, her finger jabbing at Isabella's tote, as if it were evidence of a heinous crime. The interns erupted in laughter, fueled by Tessa's mischievous smile, as one of them hurled a half-eaten macaron, its pink crumb splattering across Isabella's dress. "Take that back to Brooklyn," another voice shouted, slicing through the tension in the air. Their laughter surged like a relentless wave, crashing against the shore of silence. Sarah's live stream focused intently, revealing the stain on Isabella's hem, while the interns' jeers surged in popularity as the beige girls unleashed their fury. Isabella swept the crumbs aside, her actions measured, yet every taunt struck her like a heavy stone, accumulating relentlessly. The crowd thrived on the spectacle, their phones capturing every moment of her humiliation, blind to the vast empire she wielded with an iron grip. "This is a private event," Lily declared, her voice cutting through the murmur of the crowd. "Leave now, or I'll have to call security. Never let yourself face that kind of humiliation again." Zoe's laugh sliced through the air like a crack of thunder. "She's already on it, darling." The crowd surged forward, a sea of phones raised like a fortress of lenses, all fixated on Isabella's haunting silence, her unnerving stillness. Her eyes locked onto Charlotte's, unwavering and imbued with a softness that hinted at unspoken depths. "I'm in pain," she whispered, her voice a tantalizing blend of secrecy and certainty. "Examine the list closely." Charlotte let out a derisive laugh, dismissively waving her hand as if to brush away the very thought. "You find yourself unlisted, an enigma in the shadows." With a subtle gesture, she caught the attention of a god, a formidable figure named Henry, his buzz cut accentuating his imposing presence, an earpiece glinting in the dim light. He drew closer, his hand poised just above Isabella's arm, a silent tension crackling in the air between them. "Ma'am, we need to move," he urged, his voice devoid of emotion. Isabella stood frozen, her body a statue in the midst of chaos. "Ask for Sebastian," she urged, her gaze piercing into Henry's. "He will unravel this mystery." The name fell into the silence like a stone, and in that fleeting moment, Charlotte's heart raced with uncertainty. Then she let out a laugh, sharp and dazzling. "Sebastian Wilder. This is all a dream." Henry seized Isabella's elbow, his grip steady yet gentle, guiding her purposefully toward the looming gates. The crowd surged forward, a ravenous pack drawn by the scent of blood. Sarah's live stream surged to an electrifying 50,000 viewers, her voice bubbling with joy. Once more, the beige girl finds herself cast aside. Zoe flicked her hair back, her voice laced with mischief. "Maybe consider a courthouse wedding next time." Travis's voice thundered through the air. "Send her to the cheap seats." Their laughter reverberated against the chateau's ancient stone walls, a melody potent enough to shatter the frailest of hearts. As Henry guided Isabella toward the gates, a figure emerged from the throng, James Rook, the renowned designer celebrated for his avant-garde runways. His silk scarf danced in the air, a banner of disdain that caught the eye and stirred the crowd. "This is why we gatekeep," he declared, his voice resonating powerfully, ensuring the influencers couldn't miss a single word. He leaned toward Isabella, his cologne cutting through the air like a blade, a sneer curling his lips. "You are a living embodiment of poor taste," the crowd erupted, a wave of energy surging through them as James flung his cocktail napkin at her feet, the paper dancing in the air like a daring provocation. Zoe and Travis joined in, their voices rising in unison, chanting, "No taste, no place." Sarah's stream surged to 60,000, her gaze fixated on Isabella's worn flats, now marred with dirt from the rugged path they had traversed. Isabella stepped over the napkin, her spine straight, yet the designer's words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating, each syllable a hidden wound that no one could see bleed. The world roared with laughter, oblivious to the power that lay within her. Isabella moved forward, her dress billowing in the wind, her expression a mystery. As she navigated the throng, a tech heiress named Penny Stone, adorned in a gown that shimmered like molten gold, surged forward, her bracelets clinking together with a sound reminiscent of chains. "She's scamming us all," Penny shrieked, her voice piercing the air and cutting through the tension, silencing the quartet in an instant. With a fierce glare, she jabbed a finger at Isabella, her nails glinting like daggers, and hissed, "You think you're clever sneaking in? You are insignificant." The crowd surged like a restless tide, phones flashing like stars in a chaotic sky. In a swift, defiant motion, she hurled it at Isabella, the pink liquid erupting upon impact, splattering her dress and cascading down her legs in a vivid display of emotion. Sarah's live stream surged to life, a staggering 80,000 viewers captivated, their comments erupting in a chaotic chorus, demanding justice against the fraud. Isabella halted, brushing away a tear that had escaped down her cheek, her gaze unwavering yet ignited with a fierce, unvoiced intensity. Penny's laughter rang out, a victorious sound amidst the chaos, as the mob's howls echoed like a raging wildfire, their cruelty unchecked and unstoppable. She stood silent, her resolve unyielding, neither pleading nor protesting. She glided through the chaos, a figure of calm amidst the brewing tempest, as if she understood that the storm would eventually relent. As they approached the edge of the courtyard, Megan suddenly detached herself from the group, her face drained of color. With a fleeting glance, she captured Isabella's attention, her voice a whisper that danced on the edge of silence. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice barely cutting through the noise, before she turned away, disappearing into the throng of bodies. Isabella nodded, her eyes glinting with a hint of warmth, yet silence enveloped her words. Henry's grip tightened, a surge of tension coursing through him as they approached the looming gates, the crowd's jeers reaching a fevered pitch. "Wedding crasher!" someone shouted, the words slicing through the joyous atmosphere like a knife. "Go home!" another sneered, their voice dripping with disdain. Sarah focused intently, framing Isabella's worn flats, her unadorned dress, the quiet strength radiating from her poised spine. A thunderous wave surged through the internet. The beige gate stood as a silent sentinel, capturing the world's attention, while memes surged like a tidal wave, each one more captivating than the last. Isabella stood in her linen dress, a striking figure amidst the crowd, yet the caption echoed in her mind, "When you gate crash but forget the glow-up." In an instant she vanished, leaving only a haunting silence in her wake. Henry led her through a hidden side door, shrouded in secrecy. The crowd surged with exhilaration, glasses clinking in a symphony of triumph, their victory a tantalizing sweetness that lingered in the air. With a triumphant shout, Zoe captured the moment, sharing a clip of Isabella's hurried departure. With a wave of humiliation crashing over him, Travis confessed, as his followers showered the post with thousands of likes. Charlotte lifted her champagne flute high, a triumphant smile illuminating her face. "That's how you handle a nobody," she declared, her voice slicing through the air. The quartet picked up their melody once more, the fleeting moment vanishing like dust in the wind. Within the chateau, the grand hall loomed, its ceilings adorned with cherubs, its marble floors shimmering, its tables elegantly arranged with orchids and crystal, beckoning with an air of opulence and mystery. Guests flowed into the room, their gowns whispering secrets as their voices swirled around, buzzing with excitement about the scandal of the beige girl. Sarah eagerly refreshed her livestream stats, her heart racing as the numbers climbed to 100,000 views. Her DMs buzzed incessantly, overflowing with messages from brands eager to collaborate. Charlotte wove her way through the crowd, her eyes glinting with ambition as she engaged with a Vogue editor. With every word, she subtly revealed her uncanny ability to discern the counterfeit from the genuine, leaving an air of intrigue in her wake. Lily and Zoe struck poses for selfies, their captions dripping with smug satisfaction, exuding elegance at the wedding of the year. Silence enveloped Megan as she remained still, her gaze fixed on the doors, fingers anxiously twisting her necklace in a dance of unease. The hall plunged into shadows as candles ignited, their flames dancing with a flickering intensity. Silence enveloped the air, thick with anticipation as the ceremony approached. Sebastian Wilder stood at the altar, clad in a dark suit that hugged his form with impeccable precision, radiating an energy that crackled in the air around him. He stood solitary, his gaze sweeping the room, a subtle smile dancing at the corners of his lips. The guests leaned in, hearts racing, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Where had the bride vanished to? Whispers began to weave through the air. Had she called it off? Did a scandal unfold? Sarah's fingers hovered above the keyboard, a storm of emotion swirling within her as she prepared to unveil the truth. Suddenly the doors burst open, every gaze snapped in unison. Isabella Hartwell stepped into the room, her presence commanding attention as the door creaked open behind her. She slipped into the gown, the very one she had been forbidden to try on. Ivory silk flowed like a shimmering waterfall, the bodice adorned with diamonds that glinted in the candlelight, igniting a fiery brilliance. The skirt billowed behind her, a soft train gliding over the cool marble, leaving a trace of elegance in its wake. Her hair was swept up, a single diamond clip sparkling with the brilliance of a crown, casting an enchanting glow that drew every gaze in the room. She was a vision, not merely for the elegance of her dress, but for the commanding presence in her stride, the fierce blaze igniting her gaze. Sebastian Wilder's hand rested firmly on her arm, his grip unwavering, his eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her feel like she was the sole reality in a world of illusions. In the stillness of the hall, an eerie silence enveloped everything. A collective gasp hung in the air, suspended in the moment. Charlotte's flute tumbled from her grasp, splintering into pieces upon impact with the floor. Sarah's phone vibrated violently, the live stream still broadcasting, now captivating 200,000 viewers. Zoe's jaw dropped, her lavender gown now a blaring eyesore in the dim light. Travis felt the weight of his cufflinks, tightening around his wrists like a noose, suffocating him with their oppressive grip. Megan's eyes widened, a single tear escaping her control. The guests, editors, designers, moguls, gazed in disbelief, their confidence unraveling before their eyes. Isabella averted her gaze, the weight of their stares pressing down on her like a storm cloud ready to burst. She had advanced, her arm linked with Sebastian's, chin held high, her elegance a sharp edge slicing through their disdain. Sebastian paused at the altar, his gaze sweeping over the crowd that held its breath in anticipation. His voice, though low, resonated with the power of thunder, echoing through the air with an undeniable force. "This is Isabella Hartwell," he declared, his voice steady, "my wife." The word detonated in the air, splintering the silence and leaving a palpable tension in its wake. For 2 years, we've kept our engagement a secret, meticulously planning this day not for the world to see, but solely for ourselves. Isabella implored me to shield her name from the prying eyes of the press, and I honored her request, not due to weakness but because her strength surpasses that of anyone present. He halted, allowing a weight of the truth to settle around him. Isabella stood beside him, her gown a radiant beacon, her silence resonating with a power that eclipsed any words spoken. Sebastian's gaze sharpened, yet his voice remained steady. "She stands as the visionary founder and CEO of Eve, the fashion label that has seamlessly woven itself into your wardrobe, often without your awareness." Gasps echoed through the crowd, a wave of shock and anticipation washing over them. Eve, the minimalist revolutionary, emerged from the shadows, a brand that ascended from obscurity to seize control of runways and red carpets alike. Her creator remained an enigma, shrouded in secrecy as if her very identity were a closely guarded state secret. Up until this very moment. Isabella forged Eve from the void. Sebastian continued, his pride pulsating like a heartbeat. Alone in her Brooklyn studio, She faced the world with nothing but her designs, her vision, and a laptop. No investors, no connections, just the raw pulse of creativity driving her forward. Today, Eve stands at a staggering valuation of $10 billion, and she is on the brink of unleashing her empire to the world with a public offering of $1.20 billion. She commands this industry with an iron grip, and there's no denying it. The crowd stood frozen, a vast ocean of bewildered expressions. Charlotte's knees gave way beneath her, the rich fabric of her sapphire dress cascading around her as she clutched the chair for support. Sarah's live stream exploded, captivating an audience of 500,000 viewers. Whispers erupted, a chorus of disbelief. She's Eve's CEO. Little did we know. Zoe's phone slipped from her grasp, shattering against the cold marble floor with a sharp crack. Travis muttered, "Impossible," but the words slipped from his lips like a ghost, echoing in the emptiness around him. Megan's smile, tinged with tears, blossomed like a fragile flower in the dawnlight. Deep down, she'd always sensed that Isabella was something beyond the ordinary. Sebastian's voice cut through the air, as sharp and lethal as a freshly drawn sword. What about Maison Claire de Lune? Isabella had been locked in a tense negotiation for months, each day bringing her closer to the elusive prize. As of yesterday, she has taken the reins as the controlling owner. Charlotte's breath caught in her throat, a desperate, strangled gasp escaping her lips. Sarah's stream captured every moment in vivid detail. Her audience had surged to an astonishing 700,000. The internet ignited with fervor. Sebastian's eyes roamed the room, locking on to the guilty with an intensity that could pierce through the thickest of facades. You ridiculed her, stripped away her dignity, broadcasting her suffering for the world to see. You saw her attire, but failed to glimpse the depth of her soul, and you were mistaken. He acknowledged the woman in the gray suit with a subtle nod, a silent exchange that hinted at unspoken stories between them. Emma Reed stood at the edge of the world, her heart racing with the thrill of the unknown. Shadows danced around her, whispering secrets of adventures yet to unfold. The air crackled with anticipation, and she felt the weight of destiny on her shoulders, urging her forward into the depths of her story. Isabella's chief of staff emerged from the shadows, a tablet illuminating his face with an eerie glow. "Emma," Sebastian said, named them. Emma's voice cut through the air like a shard of ice. Charlotte Moreau, Lily Tran, and Sarah Bell conspired to orchestrate and broadcast Isabella's public humiliation at the enigmatic Maison Claire de Lune. Zoe Carter and Travis Vaughn, the architects of this malicious whispering campaign. Your time is up. Shadows shifted as the guards glided through the darkness, their movements a blur of stealth and precision. Charlotte's voice pierced the air, a desperate cry of, "This is a mistake." With a firm grip on her arm, Henry guided her into the unknown, the air thick with anticipation. As she moved through the crowded room, her sapphire dress snagged on a table, the fabric ripping at the seam with a sharp, sudden sound. Charlotte was pulled relentlessly toward the gates, her once sparkling sapphire dress now a tattered remnant of its former glory. The hush of the crowd enveloped the scene, a heavy silence shattered solely by her frantic cries for help. "I crafted Claire de Lune." Her scream pierced the air, a desperate cry that shattered as Henry's grip tightened around her. Outside, a frenzy of paparazzi surged, their cameras flashing like a swarm of fireflies in the night, relentless and unyielding. Her mascara-streaked face was a haunting portrait of despair, the torn hem of her dress trailing behind her like a ghostly whisper in the dust. A headline blazed across the reporter's phone screen, demanding attention. A mystery bride brings an unexpected twist, leading to the shocking dismissal of the Claire de Lune manager. Social media twisted and transformed. Charlotte watched in disbelief as her followers vanished, one by one, like shadows slipping into the night. Her name had become a cruel joke, echoing in the shadows of laughter. Guests murmured she had dared to mock the wrong woman. She had dared to mock the wrong woman. Emma's tablet buzzed to life, a sudden jolt of urgency slicing through the silence. As the shadow of Isabella's merger approached, Claire de Lune's stock took a nosedive, sending investors scrambling for the exits. Charlotte faltered, her empire crumbling with each faltering step, as Isabella's star ascended, radiant and untouchable. Lily trailed behind, her sobs echoing in the silence, the emerald silk of her gown flowing behind her like a symbol of her despair. Sarah fought to end the stream, but a guard seized her phone, leaving her 800,000 viewers to witness her descent. Zoe's voice rang out, fierce and defiant. "I am Zoe Carter." As she was led through the lilies, her lavender gown shimmered like a dying ember, a fleeting spark in the twilight. Travis's voice trembled. "I had no idea." Yet the guards remained oblivious, their heavy boots echoing as they propelled him toward the looming gates. Tanisha's departure unfolded like a dramatic scene, a vivid display of broken pride. As the guards led her away, her shimmering gold gown snagged on a thorny rosebush, the sound of fabric tearing, slicing through the air, while her bracelets cascaded to the ground with a sharp clatter. "You can't possibly go through with this." Her cries pierced the silence, yet the paparazzi were relentless, their blinding flashes illuminating the chaos as they clamored, "Smile, Penny." As the news of her disgrace surged through the digital realm, the shares of her tech empire plummeted, spiraling downwards with a speed that rivaled Sarah's frantic livestream. Whispers rippled through the crowd as she hurled the wine at Isabella, a fitting retribution for her transgressions. In the digital realm, Penny Falls became a trending topic, her brand deals evaporating like mist, while her followers abandoned her, drawn to the allure of Isabella's elegance. The chateau's gates crashed shut behind her, sealing away her arrogance for eternity. Isabella's vow of respect resonated like a clarion call, heralding the dawn of a transformative era. The press outside erupted in chaos, flashes illuminating the darkened night as headlines began to take shape. The fashion elite were unceremoniously expelled from the Wilder wedding, while Isabella Hartwell, Eve's clandestine queen, plotted her sweet revenge. The digital realm ignited with fervor. Isabella Hartwell captured the world's attention, her gown becoming a symbol of elegance, her grace radiating strength, and her power igniting a frenzy of admiration in countless memes. The world transformed her narrative as it unfolded before her eyes. Isabella advanced, her voice a gentle whisper yet resolute, cutting through the tension in the air. "This isn't about revenge," she declared, her voice echoing through the hall, every ear straining to catch her meaning. "It revolves around the essence of respect. I crafted Eve to weave together threads of beauty, not to sow discord. Yet, I've witnessed the ruthless way this industry devours anyone who dares to step outside its rigid confines. That changes now." She paused, her hazel eyes sweeping the room, landing momentarily on Megan, who stood isolated, her face marked by streaks of tears. In a bold and unexpected turn of events, Maison Claire de Lune is set to join forces with Eve. Enough with the barriers, enough with the harshness. We will create for every woman, not just those you consider deserving. The crowd stood in hushed stillness, some nodding in agreement, while others remained frozen, caught in a web of disbelief. Isabella's gaze softened, yet her resolve remained unyielding. "To those who cast their judgments upon me, heed this lesson. Kindness is free, yet cruelty exacts a heavy toll." She turned to Sebastian, her hand seeking his, their connection igniting a quiet blaze between them. The officiant, a silver-haired Frenchman known as Father Julien, advanced with a graceful sweep, his robes whispering secrets as they brushed against one another. The ceremony unfolded, vows whispered beneath a shimmering tapestry of stars. Isabella vowed to remain by Sebastian's side, her voice unwavering like the first light of dawn. With unwavering resolve, Sebastian pledged to be her protector, his gaze locked onto hers, a silent promise echoing between them. The kiss lingered softly, a binding promise shared between two souls. The reception blossomed in the gardens, where lanterns flickered like stars, and the music danced through the night air, wrapping around every guest in a warm embrace. Isabella and Sebastian swayed together, her gown glistening like the night sky, his hands firm and reassuring against her back. Emma drew closer, her tablet dim and silent in her hands. "It's done," she whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence that hung heavy in the air. Claire de Lune's staff was dismissed, effective immediately. The mergers have been unveiled, and the world now heralds you as a revolutionary. Isabella's smile radiated warmth as she leaned closer to Sebastian, the world around them fading into a blur. "Excellent. Let's ensure it remains so." As darkness enveloped the world, Isabella discovered Megan by the fountain, her black lace dress clinging to her, heavy with sorrow's tears. "You apologized," Isabella said, her voice enveloping him like a comforting embrace. It held significance. "It held significance." Megan nodded, her voice trembling as she whispered, "I didn't know who you were." Isabella's fingers brushed against her arm, sending a shiver through the air. Kindness knows no names. It flows freely, unbound by identity. She hesitated for a moment, then declared, "Eve Bridal requires a new identity. I want it to be you." Megan's eyes grew wide, her breath hitching in her throat. "Me?" Isabella's head dipped in agreement, a silent acknowledgement of the weight of the moment. "Your gaze found me in the shadows, where others overlooked my existence." The party pulsed with life, yet Isabella and Sebastian found their escape, retreating to the chateau's edge where the countryside loomed, dark and infinite, a vast expanse of mystery before them. Before he gently swept a strand of hair away from her face, his voice barely above a whisper. "You transformed the entire landscape tonight." Her smile lit up the night, and her hazel eyes sparkled like the stars above. "We did it. United as one." They were more than mere husband and wife. They moved like a tempest, reshaping the very essence of an industry with each decisive stride. Isabella Hartwell carried her worth like a hidden flame, flickering fiercely beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to ignite the world around her. She had traversed the flames and emerged radiant, a beacon of hope. If this tale resonated with you, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more captivating stories.